At the University of Kentucky, like many other college campuses across the US, some students aren't sleeping enough, only getting an average of 6 to 7 hours per night. For most of these students, the recommended amount of sleep is 9 hours per night. We don't mean to say that no one sleeps in college, nor do we want to present those who don't get their 9 hours as inferior or dumb in any way. We want to raise awareness of some of the common pitfalls that can lead to improper sleep hygiene, and in turn, chronic sleep deprivation, the effects of which can include lower alertness, fatigue, and stress. It may not happen every night, but when you stay up for hours watching Netflix, it's hard to stop. You'll always end up watching just one more episode. Late night video binging can be harmful to sleep for a couple of reasons. Firstly, you'll stay up past a healthy bedtime trying to finish one show or watching the next one after that cliffhanger they left you at. Secondly, modern LCD screens, which are found in most TVs, laptops, and phones, emit blue light. Blue light naturally communicates to the brain that it's morning and time to get up, while red light signals sleep. Extended exposure to blue light reduces melatonin levels, the hormone that helps with sleep timing and circadian rhythms. This culminates to a more difficult time falling asleep, so it's recommended that you not use a device within an hour before bed. Other device recommendations include not sleeping in the same room as a device to avoid a text waking you up, and using an alarm clock so it's not necessary to keep a device within arm's reach.
Another bad habit is staying up late studying in the library past a healthy bedtime, or staying there all night cramming for an exam for the next day. This puts you at less than optimal hours of sleep, which can have some physical effects, but more importantly, inadequate sleep time affects memory functions in processes of acquisition, consolidation, and recall. To simplify these effects, you retain less of what you studied in the long term, and in the short term, recalling that material is more difficult. So to consolidate a guide for good sleep hygiene, the most important step is to plan for 9 hours of sleep every day and to make a habit out of it. Some other tips that help are to stay away from screens when it comes time to sleep, keep your phone away from your sleeping space, don't consume food or caffeine before bed, sleep in a dark space, only use your bed for sleeping and sex, and finally, avoid naps during the day.
To gain a better perspective on these issues, we interviewed these students, and this is what we found.
What did you do before bed last night?
I watched 3 episodes of The Flash.
I was studying, and I fell asleep on my bed.
I watched Netflix, and I played on my phone.
I usually grab my phone and I go through Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. I do it probably multiple times, maybe 2 or 3 times a piece, and then I start to get sleepy, so I take my phone away, put it on the bed, and then fall asleep.
I stayed up for 3 hours past my bedtime.
I usually get about 5 to 6 hours of sleep.
4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Okay.
I think it definitely affects how I sleep or how I feel the next day, as in I know it's horrible for you because it keeps you awake longer and stuff, so I tend to think it's probably bad to do, but I still tend to do it.
I'm usually really tired, and I usually want to skip my class because I'm so tired because I didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
A little bit panicky when I woke up late because I fell asleep late, and not very refreshed.
Did you grab coffee or anything?
No, I don't like coffee, but then I drink a lot of soda.
Yeah.
I couldn't focus sometimes. I was watching videos in class, just went to sleep.
You slept in class?
Yes.
Why do you think you do that?
I personally think it's just out of habit. I've done it for forever now, so now it's just natural, but I usually do it just so so I don't want to miss anything before I go to bed.
In the interviews just presented, we asked some UK students what a typical evening looked like for them, and what some of their bad sleeping habits were. We then instructed them on some changes they could make. We really wanted these students to be more mindful of their sleep, to understand what makes a good habit and what makes a bad habit. Next, we asked them to get back to us after trying these good habits out for a week, and to tell us if anything changed for them, if nothing changed, or if they even had time to implement them.
So this weekend, instead of studying before I went to bed, I just relaxed and watched some TV, and then I didn't go to bed. I went up to bed at about the same time, but then I slept longer and I got a lot more sleep and I felt much better the next day.
The past couple nights, I have watched Netflix before going to bed, but last night I went to bed at 3 a.m. without watching Netflix, and I still felt the same as I did when I do watch Netflix.
I've been more conscious of looking at my phone and stuff before I go to bed because I know it keeps me up late. So I've been trying to go to bed a lot earlier, and also when I do go to bed, I tend to look at my phone before I actually get to bed.
Yes, I've stopped watching TV shows right before I go to bed, and I've stopped being on my phone and all the bad things like that.
After reviewing our second interviews, we realized that the message of sleep hygiene didn't get across for everyone, and sleep remained a low priority overall. What we try to have our fellow students realize is that sleep should be a priority just as necessary to healthy life as eating properly. The effects of it can only really be experienced when you factor in all of the proper habits in sleep hygiene. Planning for 9 hours every night, staying off your phone and stuff in bed, and using your bed only for sleep and sex. So when Natalie slept in on the weekend and Kristen decided not to watch Netflix one night, I can't say that they really did anything that will have lasting effects on their sleep hygiene. Courtney and Peyton, however, did feel positive effects. They'll probably have some lasting experiences that will help with their sleep hygiene overall.
I've actually been happier too when I wake up. Felt like accomplishing more throughout the day.
Do you feel like this is because you chose a better bedtime or because you didn't use distracting technology?
I feel like it's both, but they definitely go together. Like, when I'm not on my phone, I go to bed earlier because I'm not dragging out the time by being on Instagram for about 4 hours and then going to bed at like 3. I've gone to bed earlier because I'm not on my phone. It just made me feel better overall, and I think when you feel better, you like what you did to feel better. So when I slept, I felt better about being awake. Slept longer, felt better about being awake. So I think that I would definitely continue sleeping longer, which means that I would continue not being on my phone longer and continue just putting away the electronics and just going to bed.
Throughout this video, we have shown that some college students are becoming sleep deprived at the cause of bad habits. Through our interviews, we have helped some of these students overcome those habits and realize the importance and benefits of good sleep hygiene. So, as a final statement to you, the viewer, we would like to ask you to become more mindful of your own sleep and to try some of our suggestions for yourself so you can have a good night's sleep every night.